Fine. So till today, till yesterday, we had seen about, we had discussed about Windows internal tools. So from today onwards, we will discuss about Linux tools. Now you can see here that there is a special edition of Linux that is called as CSI Linux. So if you go to csilinux.com, you can download it. This is a special edition of Linux specifically meant for forensic activities. So you can go to download section here and you can see here that there are many virtual appliances. So you need not have to install this on your machine. So you just need to install VirtualBox first, then download this image and import the image. It's a huge file, so it is taking a lot of time. Here maybe
Download
I'll
plus import.
tomorrow.
Import the image.
And this is the requirement. So you need 4 plus GB of RAM and 54 plus GB of free disk space. It should have 2 plus cores.
4 GB RAM, 54
Also
GB.
the internet access.
4 GB RAM.
54 GB disk space का
So
Linux
this is a special edition of Linux called as CSI Linux, specially meant for forensic.
Crimes investigation, CSI.
They also have a VMware, but I think it's not yet available. Or you can also install it on your systems. It's a new OS. I think they have released it 2 to 3 years ago. So you have even CSI SIEM. And the default username and password is CSI and CSI. If you go to tutorial section, they have some videos also, and they have some certification courses also. Those who are interested, they can just check out. But today I'll be walking you through Kali Linux. So we'll flash up basics of Linux first, so that we can cover the things faster tomorrow. So I'm using today Kali Linux, which is again Linux distribution meant for cyber security and hacking.
Hacking.
Yeah, so if you go to offensivesecurity.com or offensivesecurity.org, I guess. Yeah, offensive-security.com. I'll share all these links later on the group. Okay. And these people also have a certification, and which is very well recognized in the cybersecurity community, especially the penetration testing community, because the exam is really hard and it tests your practical skills. Actually, the exam duration is 48 hours, so out of 48 hours, 24 hours is for owning the machines, owning the virtual machines, and 24 hours is for report writing. But it's also
కరవేచి వస్తుంది మళ్ళీ
on costly side. But if you want to explore things on your own, then you can just go to Kali and community here, and you can download the virtual appliance again. So virtual machines you can download. If you want, you can also go for live boot. If you don't want to install at all, if you don't want to use at all, it's also available as Windows subsystem. That means you can install it as an app from Windows Store. But otherwise, you can also use VMware or VirtualBox. It is available as virtual machine.
box.
VirtualBox and VMware both do the same task, but you have to use specific images because VMware image will not work in VirtualBox and VirtualBox image will not work in VMware. So you need to download specific image. So you can download them as torrent or you can download them directly. So no problem at all. So their tutorial is available free of cost about Kali Linux. So I have already installed Kali Linux in my virtual machine. It has already booted. I am using VMware software.
VMware.
But depending on your requirement, either you can use VMware or VirtualBox. Both should be fine. Anyone should be fine. Whichever you like. If you are comfortable with VirtualBox, go for VirtualBox. If you are comfortable with VMware, go for VMware. So default username and password for Kali Linux is Kali. Username is Kali. Password is also Kali.
Kali. CAKLI.
Yeah. So just like for CSI Linux, it is CSI. For Kali Linux, it is Kali.
లేకసి పడుకుంటారు ఊళ్ళంతా పచ్చి పచ్చిగా ఉంది పడుకుంటారు చాలా
Hello.
So we'll have to wait for a couple of minutes. It's loading. Yeah, so this is the interface you get when the Kali Linux boots. Now note here that there is something called as terminal. So in terminal, actually you are going to type commands. Okay, so just like on Windows we had command prompt. So we have a command prompt in Linux. It's called as terminal. So when I click on this black icon terminal, it loads a terminal. Yes, you can see here, it has loaded the terminal. Is it visible?
స్టాప్ షేరింగ్ అని వచ్చింది చూడు ఒకసారి
వాడు షేరింగ్ మంది కాదు మనం షేర్ చేయట్లేదు
స్క్రీన్ ఇస్ విజిబుల్ అంటున్నాడు నువ్వు చూడు సార్.
వాళ్ళు చెప్తారే
ఈ స్క్రీన్ విజిబుల్ అంటే ఎట్లా ఉంటుంది?
Okay.
విజిబులే కదా.
So I hope now it's visible.
అదే స్క్రీన్.
Now you can see here that the prompt is dollar. So unlike Windows, we have dollar prompt here. So there it was arrow and blinking cursor, but now here the prompt is dollar. Dollar means normal user. Okay, there are two types of users. One is normal user and second one is a super user. Normal users will not be having all the permissions. Normal users will be having the default. Will be having limited permissions. Earlier, when we had older versions of Linux, we could directly log into Linux with root prompt. But now it is not possible. They have changed the policies. Now they say that you log in to your account, then use su command to switch to super users. So how you can recognize that a particular account is normal user account or a root user account is by observing the prompt. Now if you see dollar here, that means it's a normal user. But if you see hash, then it's a super user. Now I am also starting super user. Now you can see here that now it has displayed hash instead of dollar. So let me again zoom it. Yeah. So now you can see here the prompt. Now what prompt it displays is root at Kali. So root is a super user which has got all the permissions. If you are able to log in using root account, then you can do anything. No one can stop you. But if you log in as a normal user, then you have limited permissions. Okay, so by observing the prompt, so if the prompt is hash, then it's a super user. If it is dollar, then it's a normal user. Okay. So this is the difference. Now you might have also noticed here that when I had tried to access the root terminal, it asked for a password. So I entered the password as Kali. So then only it had allowed me to log into root.
Password.
Now Linux is considered as one of the most secure operating
పాస్వర్డ్ ఇస్
systems.
ఖాళీ.
That's not true actually. If you don't configure the operating system properly, if you don't understand the things in Linux, then it's very difficult. But by default, Linux places many security policies, so that's why you can consider it as a bit secure operating system. But if you don't apply proper permissions, if you don't define the proper policies, then again it's just like any normal operating system. Now let's try to execute a few commands here. Let's say who am I? Okay. It says that Kali. So it is giving me the username through which I have logged in. Now let me ask the same question on root terminal. Okay. On root terminal, I'll say who am I.
చిన్న చెయ్యి.
So now you can see that it says that you are a root. Okay, because you now have logged in as root here. But on the other command prompt, you have logged in as
ఖాళీ.
normal user. So that's why it was displaying the message as Kali. Okay. Now as far as possible, let us stick to normal user. Next, there is an interesting command called as what is.
వాట్ ఈస్.
I'll say what is cal. Okay. Let me say what is ls. Okay. So now you can see here that when I say what is ls, it is giving me one line description about that particular command. Okay, so ls command we use to list the directories and files. So it's like a dir command on Windows. So similarly, you can give some more commands. Now I'll say what is man. So now you can see here that it is given the description. Macros to format man pages and an interface to system reference manuals. So here man stands for manual. Now we have seen who am I command. Next we have seen what is command. Now let's check where is command. I'll say where is Python. So now you can see here that on this system where the Python has been installed, the location of the Python command, the location of the installer directory has been shown here. Now you can see here that under bin folder Python is present, that's the executable. So we don't see executable files on Linux. So alternatively .exe files on Linux is bin files. Okay, so they will be usually having the extension .bin. So bin files are executable files, and those files you will find in /usr/bin folder. Now you can also see that it is also showing the documentation or manuals location. Now if you want, you can also type where is. Okay. So now it is showing where is installed.
Where is
Its location in bin folder and also its location in man pages.
Bin folder, man pages.
Bin folder.
Man page.
So now it says I'm trying to execute a cal command, but now it says that it's not found. That means it's not installed here. But it's also asking a question. Do you want to install it? I'll say yes. So whenever you want to install any software, basically it asks for a root password. Enter the root password. It says unable to locate. Okay. So let me try this command sudo apt install ncal. No. So cal stands for calendar. On normal operating systems, actually it works, but I think it has not been installed on Kali Linux because it is not an essential tool for Kali Linux. Because Kali Linux is specifically meant for cyber security. So if you explore the menu options of Kali Linux, you will find here that you will find most of the tools related to cyber security and forensics. Now next go for man command. Now I'll say man ls. So now you can see that it is displaying the manual page for ls command. So it displays the name. So it says that list directory contents, then synopsis. So in synopsis it is showing how to use this command. Then there are different options. Okay, -a, -b, then block size, -c, then color, -d. Okay, so there are lots of options basically. So you will find complete details about any command by just using man and specifying the command name.
Man, yes.
And
So
command
I'll
name.
press Q to quit.
Command.
Similarly, I
Name.
can say man cat. So cat stands for concatenate. So you can concatenate files and print
Concatenate.
it on the standard output. So standard output is nothing but the terminal output. So again I'll press Q. Now let me type ls. So now you can see here that it has displayed the directories because there are no files. Let me navigate to some folder. So note here that it is also trying to predict what are the next few letters. So if you press tab, automatically it will show the suggestions, and if there is a single match, you press tab, it will take the next few characters automatically. Okay, so now you can see here that I have navigated into desktop folder. Now let me type ls command again. Now you can see here that it is displaying only one file because that's the file which has been created. Now I'll say ls minus l. So ls minus l stands for long listing. So that means it is showing more details. Now the first column, it is showing that what are the permissions associated with this particular file. Okay, there are three types of permissions for three types of users. So read, write and execute are the permissions for user, group and others. Okay, so first RWX belong to user, next RWX belong to group,
User,
next
next group,
RWX belongs to others.
others. User, group,
Okay.
others. Mood raka.
So you can see here only the user account is having read and write permissions, whereas other users and other groups, they are having only read permissions. So this is very essential. If you give read write permission to others, other users, then anybody can modify the file. So it becomes very important to assign appropriate permissions. Now I'll say cd dot dot. So it will take me to the home folder. Now again, so I'll say ls minus l this time. So now you can see here that it is displaying all the directories, but there are no files. Let's create one file and see the output. Note the first letter in the column, everywhere it is specified as D. So D stands for directory. If it is a dash, then it's a file. Okay. Now you can see here the permissions. The user, that's the Kali, will be having all permissions, read, write and execute. Whereas group, read and execute. Others, read and execute. Okay. So it's also displaying the username, group name, what's the size. So since it's just the directory name, it is going to display the same here. And it also displays when this is created. Let us create one more new directory. So to create a new directory, you have to make use of mkdir command. So mkdir stands for make directory. I'll say make directory sample. Note here that whenever you don't get any message, that means you have to assume that it has been executed successfully. You will get message only when it is not executed successfully. So now note here that it has just returned the next command prompt. That means the command has been executed successfully. But let us make some errors. Now you can see here, I said mkdir instead of mkdir, so it is displaying the error message now. Okay. So you get error message or warning message when the command is not working properly. Otherwise, if it is executed properly, then you don't get any message. You have to assume that it's executed successfully. Now let's again say ls minus l. Okay, so now we can see here that sample directory has been created. Now let's navigate into sample. Now let's create a file here. So to create a file, there are many options. You can use vi command. So here you can start typing the content. Basically in VI there are two modes. One is command mode and second one is text mode. You can type commands only, you can type the text only in text mode. Okay. So if you want to execute, that is, if you want to run some commands, then you have to switch back to command mode. Okay. So by default it's in command mode. So to enter into text mode, you need to press I. Now you can say that it is displaying insert at the bottom. You start typing here. This is a text file. Okay. Now you want to save it. To save it, press escape.
Escape.
Okay. So whenever you press escape, it switches back to into command mode. Now press colon and WQ.
Colon
W stands
WQ.
for write. That means save. Q stands for quit. Okay. Now you say ls minus l here again. So now you can see here that it has created a file called as sample.txt. So for people who are from non-technical background, non-computer science background, so using VI editor is a bit difficult. So for that you have got multiple options. Maybe you can type gedit. I think gedit is not installed. That's fine. You can use another command called as nano.
Nano.
Okay. Nano sample 1.txt. Yeah. So you can see here, it is bit more friendly compared to your VI editor. Okay. Now I'll start typing here. There are no modes like command mode and text mode, so there is no need to switch back and forth between the different modes. Now I'll say here this is sample2.txt file. Now to write, you can just say Control W.
Control.
W. Right.
So now I am saying Control X because I want to save it. I'll type yes here, sample1.txt, press enter, done. Now if I say ls minus l again, now you can see here that there are two files now. Now you can observe here that first letter is not D. That means it's a file. Now say ls minus a. So now you can see here that it is displaying additional two folders. One is dot and second one is double dot. Let's add L here. Yeah. So first two lines you can observe. First one is dot, second one is double dot. So dot stands for current directory, double dot stands for parent directory. So if I have to move back to my previous directory, then I just need to say cd dot dot. Now I'll say cd dot dot. Okay. So now I have moved back to my previous directory. So let's execute a command called as pwd. So pwd stands for present working directory. Okay. pwd stands for present working directory. Now let us log into Let us navigate to sample folder again. Now I'll say pwd. So now you can see here that it has modified the location. Okay. So now it says that /home/kali/sample. Okay. So by this command, you will get to know in which directory you are working. Now you can also do some things with GUI. Okay, so before moving to GUI, let's change the permissions of the files. So I'll say again ls-al. So I'll change the permission of sample1.txt file.
Yeah.
So to change the permissions, you need to make use of command called as chmod. Chmod stands for change mode.
CH and
Okay, so chmod stands for change mode.
CH mode is
Now specify the permissions. I'll say that chmod 777 to sample1.txt. Now again say ls-l. So now you can see here that the permissions of first file have been changed. So I have granted all permissions to all. I have granted read, write, execute permissions to everyone. That's the user, group and others. Now let's try to change these permissions through UI. Now I'll go to file system. Now in file system, I'll go to home folder. So in home folder Kali. So in Kali sample. So I'll right click on sample1.txt. Then I'll go to the last option, that is properties. Now you can see here the permissions. Okay, so there's a tab called as permissions. It says that owner is Kali, access is read and write. Okay, group is Kali, access is read and write. Others, access is read and write. Okay. Now let me change it. Let me only allow read and write to owner. For group, I'll say read only. For others, I'll say read only.
No.
Okay. Then I'll say close. Okay. So these permissions got changed now. Okay. So now let's move back to the command prompt. Let's execute the same command again. So now you can see here that the first file sample1.txt, all the permissions have been assigned to the owner, that is read, write and execute, whereas group and others, they just have read and execute permission. They don't have write permission. So setting proper permissions is also one of the ways to secure your files and directories. So generally when you host a website, so the permission set for files is 644. Okay, that means read and write permission for the user, then only read permission for others and read permission for group. Now there is an interesting command called as cat. Now when I say cat sample1.txt, it shows me the content of text file. Okay. Now Linux or Unix's file structure is something different when we compare it with Windows. In Windows, everything starts with a drive letter. Right? C drive, E drive, D drive. You might have seen, even if it is a DVD or CD. it starts with a drive. We don't have concept of drives in Linux. Everything is treated as a file. Even the directory is treated as a file. Okay. But everything starts with a slash. So slash means it's root directory.
Slash is root directory.
Okay. So it's a root of the tree. So when I'm referring file system, I'm actually referring the slash. So inside slash, if I say ls, you can see here there are so many folders are there. So let me just say ls minus a. Yeah. So you can see here there is something called as dot cache, which was not displayed earlier. But when I say ls minus a, it is being displayed. So with ls minus a command, you can display hidden files. If you want to create hidden files, just append dot at the beginning of the file name. Okay. Say for example now dot cache, it's a hidden directory. So now if I say cd dot cache, it says permission denied. Okay. Maybe I have to log in with root account, root terminal. Yeah. So you need basically root access. Okay. So nothing is there in dot cache folder. So you can create hidden files, you can create hidden directories by prepending dot or by adding dot at the beginning. So I can also create hidden file here. So let me create a file. Okay. So I need a root access again. Now you can see here that it is not displaying anything, although it has created the file successfully. Now let me say ls minus a. Now you can see here that it is displaying the hidden file. Okay. So it is possible to create a hidden file. You just need to append dot at the beginning. So you can use touch command to create files. Let's see the description for touch command. So I'll say man touch. So you can say it says that it changes the file timestamps. So basically it updates and access and modification times of each file. Okay, so you just created a file. Okay. Yeah. Now there is interesting command called as history. What history does is it shows the list of all commands which I have typed previously. So you can see here. Okay, I had started with lot many commands, but today let's see. Yeah, so today I started with the who am I command. Then what is ls, what is man, where is python, where is right. So we tried all these commands. So with history you can know which all commands you have typed. Now there is something called as CD tilde. Okay, this symbol. So it's called as tilde operator. When I say CD tilde, CD stands for change directory. It navigates to home folder. Okay. Now if I say pwd, it says that /home/kali. Okay. So as I have said, I can display the content of a file using cat command. So let me display the content of some other files. /etc/passwd. Okay. So now you can see here that it displays the information about all the users. Okay. So it says that there is root. There is also Kali here. So this examining this content is very useful because you can come to know which are the logged in users or which are the accounts. If you see here that there are some accounts which are suspicious, that details you can find here. Okay, because most of the times you know the user accounts list or you also know the standard account names, but if you find anything which is not related, then that means it's a suspicious account. Okay, so generally what happens is, what hackers also do is that whenever they are naming the files, they name in such a way that it looks genuine, it looks genuine, but in reality it's not genuine. Okay, say for example there is an account called as light dm. Okay, maybe they may just create another account where it displays lght or ligt. Okay, so we don't notice such small typographic changes and we assume that it's the right user account. Okay, but in reality that's not the case. Similarly, for example, you can see the folder name USR. It is USR for user, but hackers can directly add it to user, and when they add it to USER account, then it looks more genuine than USR. Okay, so let's take the overview of Kali Linux. Now, when I click on this start icon of Kali Linux, you can see here that there are many options. First one is usual applications. Okay, that's fine. Now you can see here that your tools are classified in different categories. First one, we have information gathering. In information gathering, you can see that there is DNS analysis, then IDS and IPS identification. So IDS and IPS stands for intrusion detection and intrusion prevention systems. Then live host identification, then network and port scanners, OS int analysis, route analysis, SNMP analysis, SSL analysis. Okay, so we have seen some commands basically. Maybe we have seen some commands with respect to our Windows sysinternals, but you have commands here for network and port scanners. So similarly, there is a this command
పెద్దగా పెట్టవా
For SSL scan,
ఇది పెద్దగా పెట్టవా సార్
okay.
సార్
So let's perform SSL scan on some website. So you can see here that it says a testing SSL server.
ఇది పోయింది ఒకసారి చూడండి సార్
ఏమా
పోయింది ఒకసారి చూడండి.
తగ్గించు నువ్వు ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తున్నావు
కనబట్టలేదు తగ్గించదాన్ని స్పేస్
ఇది సార్. ఇది.
నాకు
Okay. So you can see here that SSL version 2 is disabled, whereas TLS version 1.2 is enabled. And it says what is supported, what is not supported. Now we can also see here that it says Heartbleed. It is not vulnerable to Heartbleed vulnerability. Now it also displays what is the SSL certificate used, what's the RSA key strength. So this is about information gathering. In information gathering, you also have several other tools. For example, NetDiscover, ReckonNG, Spiderfoot. So you can also check the Spiderfoot. This is an excellent tool again. Then let's go to the second category. So now here we have vulnerability analysis. So in vulnerability analysis, we have got fuzzing tools, VoIP tools, again Nikto, Nmap. So how Nmap is classified in both categories is that when you use it for information gathering, you can basically get to know about open ports, and when you want to check for vulnerabilities, you can use specific profiles. So I can run and show some specific profiles, maybe tomorrow or Saturday, how Nmap can be used. And next we have got web application analysis. So here you can identify which CMS and framework has been used. Okay, so basically there's a tool called as WP Scan. So it is basically meant for WordPress websites. So if you see the number of websites built on the internet, using WordPress, it's huge. Then you have also got proxies, where there's a tool called as Burp Suite. Then there are web crawlers, then web vulnerability scanners. Then next you have tools under database assessment. So these are SQLite database browser and SQL map. Then you can also perform password attacks. So this is very famous tool, John the Ripper. Then you can find tools to perform wireless attacks. Then there are tools to find tools for reverse engineering. So how reverse engineering works is that you have exe file, right? Generally what happens whenever you compile the program, whenever you execute the program, your source code is converted into .exe file. Let's say you have written a program in C language, C++ language, or Java, or in whatever language. So basically, executable file will be created. Of course, for C and C++ it may be .exe, for Java it may be .jar file. Now you can take these .jar files and use these reverse engineering tools, which will do the reverse way. That is, they will convert the object code into source code. Of course, it is not as clean as humans write because it is machine generated, but still it's fine. You can make out what that functionality is about. Then there are exploitation tools. Then there are sniffing and spoofing tools. Then there are some tools in the category of post exploitation. You can also see here that there is a separate category for forensics. Okay, so if you click on forensics, you can see here that under forensic carving tools, you have got magic rescues, scalpel, and other tools. So when you place the mouse cursor, it displays the description. So Magic Rescue says that scans a block device and extracts known file types by looking at the magic bytes. Then it recovers files using header and footer database. Then Scrounge NTFS is basically retrieved data from corrupted NTFS partitions. Now note here that NTFS partition belongs to Windows operating system. So even if the partition is corrupted, you can try to retrieve the data. That is because you are actually cloning the entire drive. Okay, so using tools such as Norton Ghost or some other tools. Yeah, so you can see here there is something called as forensic imaging tools. It's a forensic acquisition program. So imaging is basically cloning your hard disk or copying the entire hard drive content. So when I say hard drive content, it is not just the files, it's the entire thing. Even at the disk level, sector level, everything. Then you have got PDF forensic tools. So in PDF forensic tools, you have got PDF ID. Then you have got PDF parser. Okay, so PDF parser is very important tool again, because many times what happens is that investigative officers, they get the data in various formats. It's not in same format. Let's say for example, investigation officers have to perform bank account analysis. Okay, they have bank accounts details of a suspect, but these bank accounts are from different banks. Okay, say from SBI, Karnataka Bank, Canara Bank, okay, Bank of Baroda, and so on. But the problem with these bank statements is that each bank gives the reports in a different format. So that's the problem. So how are we going to extract the content? So PDF parsers will help you. The next you have got sleuth kit. So there is something called the autopsy tool, which is basically incident response and incident handling tool. You can download the uh, community version or evaluation version from autopsy website. Otherwise, if you want, you can use it from Windows, or you can use it from Kali Linux. So it says that I have to execute this command, http localhost. Okay, maybe I'll restart it. Okay. So I'll open a web browser. So this tool is also available on Windows platform. So I'll say http://localhost. Slash autopsy. Yeah. So you can see here that it's a browser based tool, but you will also get Windows based tools. Now when I say new case, it says the case name. So name of the case, the name of this investigation, it can only contain letters, numbers and symbols. Then the description of the case, then investigator names. So after adding all these details, you can say click on new case. So I'll just say example. Here also I'll say example, and here also I'll say example. Okay. So now it says that creating case example, case directory it has created, that configuration file it has created. Now it says that we must create a host for this case. So from this list, it has already selected. Then I'll say add host. A path for alert has database. I don't have this information. Okay, fine. So next it says add image. Okay. So now you might have seen here that it's a basically case management tool, incident response and incident management tool. Okay. So on Kali Linux, it's a browser based tool, but on Windows platform, it's a Windows tool. Okay, you have also got Binwalk, then Hashdeep and bulk extractor tools. The next category is reporting tools. Then you have got social engineering tools. So social engineering tools are again really very important. If you can hack any system if you become expert in social engineering. Okay, social engineering is nothing to do with your social media accounts. Okay, so basically they deceive you. They deceive you in a such a way that you yourself will reveal the information. Okay, say for example, if the hackers want to know more about a particular organization, they catch hold of some people inside the organization and they gather the information. So how they gather the information? They use social engineering tools. Again, it has nothing to do with softwares, it's just a skill. Then you have got Kali and other links. Okay. So explore more on Kali Linux. You have got lots of tools. You can execute different commands and see the output. So that will help you to understand how exactly Kali Linux works, how these forensic tools work. We can stop here. If there are any questions, I can take up the questions.
Seven.
Nothing from my side.
Thank you.
I think in absence of any doubt, we can leave the meeting.
Sure, madam.
Thank you. సార్ జరిగితే నేను పడుకునేస్తాను,
పడుకో.
ఇదిగా ఉంది.
పడుకో.
ఇవన్నీ తీసే తీసుకొచ్చి ఇస్తే అది మొదలైందిగా లాస్ట్
పడుకో.
అదే తప్పదు తప్పదు పడుకోవాలి.
నేను ఇంతసేపు పడుతుంది. మీటింగ్ అంట.
H6 G HNS dog